From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now all the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, August 4th. A little bit warmer today. It'll continue to feel fantastic, though, with those lower humidity values. So enjoy a warm, very tolerable afternoon. Highs will get into the low to mid-80s. Now to the mask debate. It is dominating back-to-school conversations in at least Hamilton County. Today is the first day back for Hamilton Southeastern students and staff, and some parents are saying the district is already failing at face coverings. The Fishers Health Department advises a mask requirement, but HSE says it didn't get that same guidance and is just recommending masks for students and staff. Some parents tell News 8 that they want face coverings required for everyone.
I feel like I'm throwing my child to the wolves. I feel like he's been healthy. We've all been healthy and we've been uninfected. And now tomorrow he's going to be around 1,000 kids in his school that all cannot be vaccinated.
HSE's school spokesperson says any COVID-19 policy could change as the school year goes on.
This variant is capable of causing serious illness in children.
And COVID-19 cases are surging, especially among children, as many return to school without that vaccine option. The state health department is reporting 49 new student cases of coronavirus. Then across the country, nearly 72,000 children got it between July 22nd and the 29th. That's an 84% increase from 39,000 cases the week before. The American Academy of Pediatrics is responding to the numbers. The association is constantly looking at data from states and says the available data indicates that COVID-19 associated hospitalization and death is uncommon in children, as is severe illness. The report goes on to say that there is, however, an urgent need to collect more data on longer-term impacts of the pandemic on children, including ways the virus may harm the long-term physical health of infected children, as well as its emotional and mental health effects. Right now, only children 12 and older have a vaccine available to them, but the hope is a fully FDA-approved vaccine may accelerate the approval process for vaccines for children younger than 12.
When you have an EUA for the vaccine that then goes to a full approval, that might have an influence on what goes on. We're collecting the data right now for what we need to make that determination.
Since the start of the pandemic, nearly 4.2 million children have tested positive for COVID-19. That is less than 15% of the total cases. But the surge in kid cases we saw last week made up 19% of the total weekly cases. So experts say that shows the fast-spreading Delta variant has put children especially at risk. And the FDA could give full approval to the Pfizer vaccine soon. Sources tell the New York Times that could happen by Labor Day. The Times cites people involved in the effort to approve the shot. The hope is that a fully approved vaccine will encourage more people to get vaccinated. This morning, the CDC vaccine tracker shows 67% of people who are eligible have at least one shot. Wish TV medical expert and former U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams says he worries, though, that the full approval could come too late.
At the rate they're going, it might be a moot point by the time they actually get it licensed, because you could have variants generated that then now escape the vaccines.
The Pfizer vaccine is currently only approved for emergency use. And some pressure is off this morning for millions of families who've been struggling to pay rent. The CDC is issuing a new eviction moratorium for most people until October 3rd. The ban would help out about 90% of renters. The new rules extend for 60 days and will target places with high COVID spread. All but 8 Indiana counties fall under those categories: Brown, Davies, LaGrange, Martin, Ohio, Randolph, Union, and Wayne counties do not meet the requirements. And officials insist the best way to fight the surge of cases is to get vaccinated. Dr. Jerome Adams says stopping the surge begins in areas even smaller than counties.
It's not really about national immunity so much as it is about making sure within your household, within your workplace, within your child's school, you have appropriate levels of protection so that you can prevent spread from turning into an outbreak. And so think about what you can do and what those around you can do to protect yourselves. That's how we stop this pandemic.
And today, President Biden is scheduled to meet with top health officials to discuss plans to prepare for future pandemics. School start times are changing at Carmel Clay schools because of a bus driver shortage. The superintendent sent an email to parents saying the district is down 30 to 40 drivers. That means current drivers will have to handle 3 to 4 routes instead of the normal 2 a day. So the district will stagger school start times to make sure kids are in class when it starts. And people who live within a 1-mile radius of their school will not be offered bus transportation. We have all the new start times for elementary, middle, and high schools on wishtv.com. Indianapolis police say they're coming together with their neighbors to reclaim the streets after a spike in crime. IMPD hosted block parties last night as a part of National Night Out. There were 80 events throughout all of IMPD's districts. Officers were out talking to people in hopes of putting an end to the violence.
We're hoping that events like this will encourage the younger kids you see out here never to go down that path. And for those who have, we're hoping that really they'll be impacted in such a way that they'll turn themselves in and let's just get this taken care of.
That was IMPD Chief Randall Taylor. We also caught up with Mayor Joe Hogsett. He says the people causing the problems are in the minority.
The vast, overwhelming majority of residents of the city of Indianapolis are peaceful and safe, protecting individuals.
Hogsett tells us he plans to address crime at greater length on Monday when he introduces the city's new budget.
I think he should resign.
There are more calls this morning for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to resign. President Biden joins a list of Democrats and other officials demanding that he steps down following a report that finds he sexually harassed multiple women. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand released statements saying that Cuomo should resign. This comes on the heels of the New York Attorney General's report on the investigation. The report details allegations from 11 women. The Attorney General's office claims Cuomo harassed current and former state employees, as well as women who weren't working in the state government. One of the accusers, Charlotte Bennett, spoke exclusively with CBS News.
The governor broke federal and state law when he sexually harassed me and current and former staffers. And if he's not willing to step down, then we have a responsibility to act and impeach him.
Cuomo's attorney says the report is unfair and inaccurate, and the governor is denying all of the allegations against him.
I never touched anyone inappropriately or made inappropriate sexual advances.
Cuomo has not said if he'll step down. And a scathing report says the NCAA has fallen short of keeping its commitment to gender equality. Law firm Kaplan, Hecker & Fink released the report. It was hired in March after the NCAA didn't provide similar amenities to the women and men's basketball tournaments. The report included recommendations of holding both basketball Final Fours at the same site. The law firm also recommends offering incentives to schools that improve their women's basketball programs. The report notes that recommendations were not solely based on this year's tournaments. Now, the NCAA is planning to meet in November to propose rule changes. It's holding a constitutional convention to redraft its constitution. The NCAA will identify core principles while proposing new models. The final action is expected to be taken in January during an annual meeting in Indianapolis. And the State Fair is showing support for 3 young girls in the hospital after an accident on I-65. The fair posted on Facebook saying, "Our hearts are with our beloved 4-H'ers who were injured in a vehicle accident this morning. Please join us in raising them up and sending them love." State police say 17-year-old Kaya Lasley was driving a pickup truck on I-65 yesterday morning. According to police, Lasley tried to change lanes and the truck was involved in a sideswipe crash of some kind. It rolled off the bridge near Raymond Street. Lasley had 2 passengers in the truck, a 10-year-old and another 17-year-old. There is no word yet on their conditions. Indiana Animal Care Services is out of space. No kennels or room available for incoming dogs and cats. It's forcing them to get creative while they wait for people to come adopt animals. IACS staff are letting the animals stay in staff offices in the building. In the meet and greet room, there are crates that line hallways. It's also reminding people that you can foster animals short term to get them out of the shelter. And today, the Indiana State Fair resumes with a full day of activities and discounted admission. People can get into the fair for just $6 with a printed or digital voucher from the Indiana BMV. The inaugural Deep Fried Dash for Damar is tonight. It's a 5K and 1-mile fun run through the fairgrounds. It starts at 7:30 tonight. If you haven't signed up early, it's $45 at the door. The fee includes admission to the fair, a T-shirt, and free fair food treats. Prizes will also be awarded for people who have the best Hoosier spirit as well as the best fair food themed costume. U.S. gymnastics superstar Simone Biles is speaking out about mental health issues for Olympic athletes. As I told you yesterday, Biles won bronze in the women's balance beam competition. That win came after she withdrew from most other events, citing her mental health. She spoke about the effects she felt because of competition.
I think it should be talked about a lot more, especially with athletes, because I know some of us are going through the same things and we're always told to push through it, but we're all a little bit older now and we could kind of speak for ourselves. But at the end of the day, we're not just entertainment, we're humans, and there are things going on behind the scenes that we're also trying to juggle with as well, on top of sports.
In other areas of competition, Indiana University graduate Andrew Capobianco finished 10th in the men's 3-meter springboard diving competition. On the track, Team USA wins gold in the women's 400-meter hurdles. Sydney McLaughlin set a new world record with her win, finishing in 51.47 seconds. That's 43 hundredths of a second faster than the record. Team USA's defending champion Delilah Muhammad placed second. And the Colts preseason is getting off on the wrong foot. Left guard Quentin Nelson is out with a nearly identical foot injury that sidelined quarterback Carson Wentz. The All-Pro player will be out 5 to 12 weeks after having surgery on his right foot yesterday. Head coach Frank Reich explained even though the injuries are similar, the circumstances are different.
Q's was not an old injury. Q's was a developmental anomaly, something that he was kind of born with, something that it's always there, you never know, and then all of a sudden, here it is. So they got there different ways, but essentially the same thing. You can't make that up, right? And it'll be the same time frame. We're obviously very optimistic, just like we are with Carson.
And this just adds to the growing list of injuries, which includes center Ryan Kelly. He's out with an elbow injury from earlier in camp. Former Colts running back Edgerrin James will finally be in the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. James is part of the 2020 class that had their ceremony postponed due to the pandemic. News 8's Charlie Clifford talked to people who know James best about his journey to the Hall of Fame.
He was phenomenal. It was just like a boy possessed playing football. We always shake our heads after the first practice and look at each other like we got to check the birth certificate.
Edgerrin James' old high school football coach in Immokalee, Florida saw it first. And then one future teammate knew it too. The gold teeth were going places.
He looked at me and said, "You got to trust me, man. You're riding with the edge." Right? And from that point on, I've been riding with the edge, man. That's my dog. From day one that I got to the University of Miami, he took me in and I just watched. There's no difference than me coming into Indianapolis.
But behind the scenes of this Hall of Fame career, a father faced the worst.
When Edgerrin lost his kid's mother tragically years and years ago, it was really tough. I saw a guy who really made a decision for life. Everything that he does for his life right now is all about his kids.
And just see the amount of love he receives every time he comes back to Indy, because me, I was too young to really watch him playing. So sometimes I find hard to believe this is my dad. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. That's what I can say.
For those who know Edgerrin James the best, his most important numbers came nowhere near a football field. Right after his rookie year here in Indianapolis, donating $250,000 to his alma mater at the University of Miami. This journey, never about one man.
Yeah, I can tell you stories, man. Edge, would go around the neighborhood and get charter buses, take them to Orlando to go to Disney. You know what I mean? Like who does that, man?
If it had anything to do with people, he was all in. And then the more he embraced and the city started to embrace him in Indianapolis, it was like, wow, I get it now. This is what my purpose is.
A path to Canton, carved out Edge's way. Charlie Clifford, All Access Indy Hall of Fame.
Wish TV will be in Canton, Ohio for the induction ceremonies of both Peyton Manning and James. We'll have full coverage with 2 All Access Indy specials this weekend. The coverage will start at 6:30 Saturday and Sunday on Wish TV. 2 business headlines. Some companies have already pushed back plans to bring workers back due to the Delta variant. The employment website Indeed announced its employee return to office date is now January 3rd, 2022. 45% of employees surveyed are most worried about their commute time and associated health risks, while 38% are most put off by the additional out-of-pocket expenses of coming into the office, such as public transportation, gas, and tolls. Household debt jumped by the most in 14 years. American IOUs are almost $15 trillion, says the Federal Reserve. Credit card balances increased by $17 billion, while auto loans were up $33 billion. Student loan debt actually decreased. Western Europe and China, key transport hub and home to several major businesses, are dealing with devastating floods that's damaged railways used for the delivery of goods. Supply chain software firm E2Open said there'll be probably fewer and smaller discounts for the peak online shopping season, starting with Black Friday. Minivans are making a comeback. In fact, there's been so much demand that minivans sold for, on average, 8% above sticker price last month. It's according to a recent Cox Automotive report. Auto dealers say minivans provide even more of the useful capabilities of SUVs, cargo and passenger space, without the off-road capabilities that go largely unused. And finally, today is the biggest day for our Wish TV Great Paper Push. It's our 7th year working to stock the shelves at school supply warehouse Teachers' Treasures. Just in time for school to start, of course. Every year, teachers spend an average of $800 to $1,200 out of their own pockets on school supplies to support their students. So, Teachers' Treasures is a free store for them to get much-needed supplies. For every dollar that's donated, Teachers' Treasures is able to distribute $15 worth of school supplies to students and classrooms in need. Last year, Wish TV raised more than $37,000, plus a truckload full of school supplies. We want even more this year. We're making it easy for you to donate to Teachers' Treasures. Just grab your phone, go to your desktop. On your phone, text Paper Push to 202-858-1233 to make a donation. You can also go to wishtv.com/paper and donate online. You can see the list of drop-off locations, too, if you have some new items that you would like to share. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
allindianapodcastnetwork.com.